Hollyweird continues not to get it. Go woke, go broke. Stay woke, go even broker. Hi, this is Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all to get notification of my rants. Please like and share this video so we can get the word out. Summertime has traditionally been the time of what we call the summer blockbuster, going to the movies, and I gotta admit, as a kid, one of my favorite activities to do was to go to the movies. As a teenager, as a young adult, as a young married man, as a middle-aged married man, as a wherever I am now, I enjoy going to the movies. I remember during the pandemic and everything was shut down when the movie theater in our area opened back up after months of being closed. I went to see the new, at that time, Russell Crowe movie, and I wanted to be back in the theater. I wanted the movie theaters, the employees to be able to have a job. And I was absolutely insistent on we get things back to normal. And, for a while, the theaters that were open were, showing older movies because there wasn't any new content, and the new content that was coming wasn't all that great, and there were limited showings, and they were closing off rows and all that nonsense. Well, I can safely say now in the summer of 2023, the movie theaters are wide open. They are open past 9 p.m. now. Some places even having all-night showings, and you walk in and all if there's 5 registers at the concession stand, all 5 are in operation. There's people in lines, and there's people there, and people are going back to the movies. Now, on that note, I like it. Now, if Hollywood could just figure out how to give us something worth watching. I liked the Indiana Jones movie that just came out, The Dial of Destiny. I know some people didn't, but I was in 7th or 8th grade when the very first installment came out, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Great movie. Wasn't too hip on the Temple of Doom. They made a great rebound in The Last Crusade. I enjoyed the chemistry between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery as father and son. And some people didn't like the Crystal Skull. I wouldn't rank it up there over Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Last Crusade, but I would definitely put it in the same category as the Temple of Doom. So I didn't really have a huge problem with the Crystal Skull. I enjoyed the action in it, and I enjoyed the Dial of Destiny. Is it believable that an 80-year-old guy can go swinging around and, he's got his whip? And of course not. But hey, it's movies, and you are supposed to, for a couple of hours, suspend, reality and just get into the story. And I thought on that level, it worked. But of course, it also came out the same time as The Sound of Freedom. I've been to see both. Now, at first, none of the movie stats would even acknowledge that The Sound of Freedom, the Jim Caviezel movie, which is based on the true story of Tim Ballard rescuing children who are being sex trafficked. And for some reason, Rolling Stone magazine and some other left periodicals have been blasting this movie and basically almost like defending pedophilia. But there's been backlash against those publications for coming out against Sound of Freedom, or, even places like CNN basically calling it just, a QAnon conspiracy. Really? Because the movie was made 5 years ago. It's taken them 5 years to get it to the theater. So 5 years ago predates QAnon conspiracy. So it's mind-boggling that the so-called left has fought this movie so hard, despite the fact it's true. It's based on a true story. And sadly, there are statistics that prove that what's happening is that children are being trafficked for sex. And repulsively, America is the number one destination for these kids that are getting grabbed up in third world countries. You think maybe that's why we'd like to patrol the border on the south a little bit better and find out these kids that are coming in with these people that don't even remotely look like their parents? Why have they got them? You catching this drift here? But okay, I digress. I will say this. The Sound of Freedom, after 4 weeks of release, has taken in $124 million. $124 million. Mission Impossible's latest send-up with Tom Cruise, after 2 weeks, has only taken in $118 million. Tom Cruise isn't getting quite the big blockbuster with the Mission Impossible movie that he got last summer with the new Maverick installment. Or I should say, Top Gun Maverick. What is it? Are people just done with Mission Impossible? I happen to like action flicks. I will see Mission Impossible. Haven't been to see this one yet. I will get there. I will see it. Are people done with it, or is it Tom Cruise? Because remember, this is the Tom Cruise movie that we have all of the behind-the-scenes footage. It was made during the pandemic, and him screaming and yelling at, the crew, camera people, sound people, etc. Get your mask on, and all this nonsense while he's running around doing his dialogue and action with no mask on. And he claims, hey, we're trying to make this thing happen so you people can go to work, but he was basically, being a jerk to the cast. But there are plenty of stories that he was a jerk during the filming of Top Gun. Right down to my son is in the military. He has friends that were on the aircraft carrier that Tom Cruise was on, where they filmed and did some location shooting, and that basically he took over the captain's quarters and never came out, never mingled with any of the sailors, never had any interaction with them. The rest of the cast that was on that aircraft carrier had lunch with the crew, posed for selfies and signed autographs, but Tom Cruise is above all that, apparently. Tom Cruise, in from what we understand in up close and in person, is kind of a jerk. But for whatever reason, Mission Impossible opened at number 1. It's dropped to number 4. Sound of Freedom hanging right in there at number 3, taking in $124 million. Now, the top box office takeaway this weekend, Barbie. The new woke version of Barbie. Barbie who doesn't need men. Barbie who is going to aspire to make it without Ken. And by the way, Ken and the rest of the toxic males, did anybody ever think of Ken as a toxic male? We barely think of him as a male. He's a neutered male. I mean, he is the poster child for the LGBTQA1 plus C3 WD40 community, isn't he? I mean, seriously. I mean, he's Ken. Fake smile, plastic hair, and neutered. That's Ken doll. I don't know. I haven't seen the Barbie movie. I have no intention of seeing the Barbie movie. My 2 daughters are now grown adult young women, and if they were, prospectively 8 and 10-year-old little girls again, I would probably be dragged off to the theater to see the Barbie movie. Thank God I don't have to sit through it. Ben Shapiro, who, I'm not a big Ben Shapiro guy, but apparently in his movie review of Barbie, he set fire to a Barbie, and that pretty much tells you what you need to know there, that again, it's just a bunch of woke bullhock. I did go see Oppenheimer. I have to be honest with you, there was a sex scene that personally, and it's not just because of my pastoral Christian convictions, was totally and completely unnecessary. It did nothing to enhance the storyline. So pardon me for spoiler alert here. When he's being interrogated, interviewed, under indictment, being tried in the little mock court, and they're hitting him with all of his womanizing, and his wife is sitting there imagining the affair that he had with this other woman, and she's imagining him having the affair right there in the witness stand, and they're getting graphic with it. in her imagination of him sitting there in the witness stand as he's testifying. I thought totally, completely unnecessary. Why did you put that scene in there? Other than that, yeah, I enjoyed the storyline and, the way they tried to present Oppenheimer and, his attack of conscience after developing the atomic bomb. As far as that goes, the storyline in the first few minutes is a little clunky, and you got to kind of sift through it to get, okay, we're going to go back and forth, and we're not necessarily going to follow chronological order here. But once you kind of get into it, it's all right, and it's a 3-hour movie. I enjoyed it, but it took the number 2 spot. So that's kind of what's going on with Hollywood now. But woke Disney is just hell-bent on continuing to stay woke and break their brand. I mean, just completely, totally destroy it. They brought Iger back, but even he's now in emergency meetings been warned by the board, you can't have one more flop. Elemental, flop. The new Mermaid, Little Mermaid, flop. And now that we have had the leaked photos of the new, not so white Snow White. She is Latinx. That's what we have to call her. Rachel, I've forgotten her name. Rachel, I don't know. I'd never heard of her before. She plays the new Snow White. She is Hispanic. Okay. Snow White is not Hispanic. There's all these people that get outraged over cultural misappropriation, and you've hijacked the culture that's not yours. Okay, we have to hear about Elvis stole the black culture and the black music. You can't steal somebody else's culture. An Asian part can only be played by an Asian. You certainly can't have a Native American in a movie portrayed by a white guy in makeup. Can't do it. It's wrong. Everything is wrong unless it's a minority being recast in what was a quote-unquote Caucasian role. Now, normally when it comes to fiction, I don't get like some guys do on here and just, totally lose it over the fact that, a once, quote, white superhero is now black. But I would say this, I wonder how black audiences would feel if the next Black Panther is a white dude. Yeah, exactly. But Snow White is a storyline that comes to us from the Bavarian folklore. The story predates the Disney adaptation in 1937. She was white because she's described in the book as her skin was as white as snow. A princess who had been, removed from the throne, and the wicked queen is out to get her, and she's waiting for true love, for her prince to come. According to the actress who plays the new Snow White, this new version, no. She's not waiting for true love. There'll be no prince kissing her. She's waiting to find her true self, to be the leader she was destined to be. So already, okay, piece of woke crap. And then we have the pictures that got leaked of the not 7 dwarfs. 1 dwarf and 6 normal-sized people who check the box off of every diversity group from non-white to non-binary to whatever. But they're magical creatures. They're magical creatures. It's wonderful because they're magical creatures. But there has been, since the release of the photo, such a backlash, and the fact that little people of Hollywood, midgets who act, have been outraged that this was a group of characters tailor-made for them. They now don't get to play those characters. Why? Because woke Hollywood, woke Disney decided that would be mean. That would be mean to depict little people. That would be mean, and we want to be fair. We want to be, we just don't want any prejudice. So you prejudice by removing little people from being able to work. So not only did 7 dwarfs not get 7 roles made for them, 7 to 14 little people, stunt people, didn't get work. Bum ba dum bum. Bum ba dum bum bum. But that's woke Hollywood. And they have had some emergency meetings at Disney where what they've decided to do now is moving forward the promotional materials for the new Snow White movie, which is set for a 2024 release. You will see in none of the commercials or trailers or posters the 7 mythical creatures. They haven't removed them from the movie. They're just not going to promote or advertise that they're there. Too late! That train has left the station. Everybody knows that you have basically given to the little people community who aspire to be actors and become movie stars themselves, and you basically said, hey, no, sorry, all in the name of being woke and not wanting to be prejudicial. We're prejudicing you out of a job, out of a career, out of a role. See, this is the liberal mindset. It is a pathogen of stupidity and just endless, toxic, fatal garbage. That's what they are. Period. So, Disney, go broke. Could care less. Because there's a new amusement park coming to Oklahoma. And if they do this right, it could give Disney a run for its money. But Disney, it's a magical place. Everybody wants to go there. Everybody used to want to go there. I used to live in Orlando. I've been to Disney literally dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I was a youth pastor in Florida. I have taken teenagers for activities and fun nights at Disney. I know Disney. Nobody wants to go there now, and you get off one of the rides and, oh, look, it's a fairy princess with a dude who talks with a gravelly voice, but, you know, hey, I identify as a fairy godmother. Nobody wants to take their kids to that wokeola, crapola. So Disney, you're about to be Bud Light. Bye, 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 bye.